Hey there, grab your coffee and let's talk business. How to grow it, how to sustain it, and how to harness the wonderful World Wide Web to do it. With me, your host, Jennifer Sikowski. Let's get started. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of Rainy Day Talks podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Sikowski. And I'm so excited to have you here because guess what? 2020 is knocking at the door. Are you ready? Did you accomplish? I'm coming in hot today. Okay, you ready for this? Did you accomplish your goals that you set out to do January 1st, 2019? Think about it. I'll give you a second. No, you didn't? Or are you like me, declaring that I'm not done yet and this year isn't over and you're still going to ride it to the end to accomplish what you've set out? Whatever it may be. If you're like me, each year, try to be better. Try to grow bigger. Try to change it up, right? Because I want to be the best me today than I was yesterday. And then to do that, we have to take a look at not just the business and how we are in the business and our employees and our clients, our sales. It's not just that. It starts before that. Because if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you are a hustler, mom boss, I'm looking at you. It's all starts with you behind the business. Looking at the content and the episodes that we're putting out for the end of the year, I wanted to line up some awesome guests that can bring it, that we talk about our emotional health, how we show up mentally, how we show up physically, how do we set those goals, how do we get started? So what I did is I lined up some awesome guests, and then I wanted to start it with just me. Here I am, talking about my own experiences, but setting the tone. So the very first thing that we're going to start with is you. One quote that I keep on my desk is, I want to be better than I was yesterday. Every day. Today, I want to be better than I was yesterday. Do I always hit that? Absolutely not. But something that I strive for. Because if we think about it, as business owners, it's easy to think, like it's a scale, right? From home and work, and we try to balance it. That's baloney. I tell my son that all the time. He laughs at me when I'm like, that's baloney. Well, it is baloney because it's not a scale. Stop trying to give up something to fit something else. And you know what? You can have it all. That's my firm belief. You can figure it out. You just have to let go of a few things. Let go. For me, it was having everything in this perfect package. That's unrealistic. It's messy, but also awesome and beautiful if you're able to flow between being a mom to a wife and then jumping right into business. I think that's awesome. You know why? Because I'm freaking doing it right now. And I don't usually talk much about that, but dang it, like we're doing some awesome stuff in my business and I'm super proud of it. And the only way that I know to keep that going is to talk about how I flow. Because even today, mom bosses, I'm talking to you right now, where you start out super early. Maybe you have your daily habits. We're going to talk about that. Set your tone for the day. Hitting the gym, coming home, getting the kids off to school, trying to rock out business while one's in preschool and the other one's in your office. I did it today, talking with my content strategist on Zoom and with the little one in the background, running back and forth, go taking her potty and coming back. Melissa's listens. I know she's cracking up about it because we were too. And then going straight into doing some housework, taking a couple calls from clients, prepping on them for a meeting tomorrow, and then getting dinner prepared. And the husband gets home. He strolls in, takes over, and then allows you to just to go up and knock out some work. That was my day. Now, if that was a balancing act, I feel like it would be more rigid, and it's not. It flows. And obviously you might not have a supportive husband, or a spouse or significant other. You might just be doing it all by yourself, and God bless you for it. Single parents everywhere, God bless you. I'm very fortunate that we're able to do that and we tackle it together. So for me, how I start, I have to back up. And there's an exercise that I've done before, and it keeps coming up, is if you set, it's called destination happiness. So if you take some time and to really evaluate, what would an ideal day look like? Not just in business, but the whole day of how it goes. What does that ideal day look like? What does that ideal week look like? What is your ideal weekend? So take some time and pull out a sheet of paper, call it Destination Happy Place, and write out that, okay? Write out what you want. Is it you're working 2 days a week, you're with the kids 3 days, you shut down at 4:00, you're able to slide in at home, prepare dinner, maybe it's something else. Whatever it is, write it down. Make a list. Because then the next thing that I want you to do is to back up. So for me to do that, to me to have that and be in that attitude, that mental space, what do I need to do? And that's where we start adding the meat to this. Okay. So for me, and for the individuals that are super successful that I've interviewed in the past, it all starts with your morning routine. And here's how I operate. And if you look at, I know I talk about it, and one of my favorite books is High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. Check it out because he's all about this, setting intention, setting the tone. And another one is Rachel Hollis. She's a rock star. She talks about this. She has a whole journal out there for this. But it's about setting yourself up to be the best version of you every day. And for me, it starts with those daily habits. What are the non-negotiables that have to happen? For me, I want to get up early before the kids. I want to go to the gym or work out at home. Because let's face it, and we're talking about we're training for life here. So I want to make sure that I put the time in. Then the next thing is I come home, I write out my gratitudes, 5 things in the last 24 hours that I am grateful for, that I am so thankful that either it happened, a moment, maybe it's just something in general. Sometimes it's God bless me for coffee. No, just kidding. Not really. And then I go into writing out my goals as they're already happening. So I try to think big, and then I write them down every day because I'm going to shatter those. Then I take some time for me. It's in devotion. I want to get into my Bible. I want to take some time to pray, and I want to take time to connect. And then I go into what are my top 3 things that have to happen today. So when I lay my head down at night, what are the 3 big rocks, big things that have to get done for me to feel like, okay, today was done. I did it. And sometimes they're big tasks that I have to break down into little tasks to chip away at them, especially if I have kids at home. Other times it might just be, I know I need to have to connect with this person, or maybe it's, I need to bake this cake for my husband's birthday, or whatever it is. But I put all that together because once again, for me, it's not a balancing act. It's going to flow. So I'm going to allow myself to embrace the messy parts of life, that it's not perfect. I have little humans and they hijack my schedule all the time, but I'm going to do my best. These are my 3 things that I focus on because I have a very hard time to stay focused. My husband is all the time telling me that, oh, look, shiny object, because it's true. Don't tell him I'm agreeing to that, but it's true. I have a hard time focusing. And for me, being able to go back to that one list, that one place, that helps me. So, and then from there, I try to drink half my body weight in ounces of water. I try to connect with just somebody on the personal side, whether it's my mama, whether it's my sister or girlfriend back at home through Snapchat, whatever it may be. I try to connect with somebody because it's easy when you're working virtual like me to get behind the computer and to feel like you're on an island. So it's important to reach out and build and keep those connections, those relationships. Because if I always think quality over quantity, sometimes your tribe might be one or two people, and that's okay. But it's important to take time to reach out to them. And so then it goes on from there. So for me, because I love the quote that says, you cannot pour out of an empty cup, right? You have to fill yourself up just like a vase. If I keep pouring the water will eventually trickle out, right? So whatever it is for you to set yourself up to be in that mind space to be successful, you have to pour into you first. Mamas, I'm specifically talking to you right now, is that it's easier to take care of everyone else, but you got to take time. And in your business, I mean, being as a boss and having a team, how often do we get into this mode of helping them meet their goals and helping them work through sometimes personal stuff, sometimes business stuff, let's be honest. And it's easy just to feel deflated constantly. Well, I'm challenging you is going into the new year, sit down, write out your destination happy place, then write out your non-negotiables, those daily habits for you to be able to do every day to be your best self. And with last point with that first section of this talk is if you get off track during that day and you don't do one of your non-negotiables, don't beat yourself up. Because this is the hard thing. Because we go, I'm talking to myself here, 90 miles a minute. I get something in my head and I'm going to nail it. I'm going to do it. It's going to be great. But stuff happens. So let it go, acknowledge it, and then start again the next day. And keep that habit of every day, setting out the intentions, doing your daily habits. And if it gets off, that's okay. You got a new day. Thankful we get new day full of new grace and mercy every single day. So just get up and try again and keep, because every day that you try that, every day you set your intention, guess what? It will become a habit. So that's my first point. Second is training. So all of what I just said, it's all about training. Do you think a pro athlete just shows up on the field and kicks a 45-yard field goal like it's no big deal and be like, yeah, here I am? No, it doesn't happen like that. They train for that. They train every single day. And so for me, for this life, I am getting the mindset that I'm going to train every single day. If it's moving my body, being healthy, making healthy choices with food, drinking water, to connecting with my team, to setting goals and being intentional of my time in the office, to putting down boundaries, whatever it is, like we are training. So I want you to just take comfort that it is a process. It's a freaking process. And quite frankly, if it's not uncomfortable, you're doing it wrong. Because if you're trying to commit to a change in your life and in your business, it's not going to be perfect every single day. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to revert back to old habits and just keep pressing forward. I can't stress that enough. Just every day, get up, start again, because we're training here. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. We're going to every day get up and try and start over again. Because that's how you chip away at huge goals. That's the way you chip away at building massive success for yourself. Next point is knowledge is power. Oh, okay, this is good. So, do you wonder why at night that you know that you were busy all day long at the office, or you know you were running around the house all day long, but you sit down and you get ready for bed and you're thinking, what the heck did I do? You have that feeling of like, was I really productive today? I did a lot, but what did I really get done? I'm going to ask you, where are you spending your time? I'm going to let that soak in. Where are you spending your time? And do you know what 2 easy tools / tricks there's this thing called rescue time. And this is not an ad and it's not a promotion. This is something I've used and it gives me a report every week. And I'm like, okay. What it does, it's a free Chrome extension. You just add it to your computer and it will track what sites that you were on, what you're doing, and it will give you a breakdown. And it'll tell you if you tell it what's productive for you and what's not, it will give you a report of where you're spending your time. Like, how long are you on Facebook? You sitting there watching YouTube videos all day? Calling it research? I don't know. Where are you spending your time? Another great tip is if you have an iPhone, I'm assuming all the other phones have this, but if you go in your settings or swipe to the right, it'll say screen time. And it breaks down by app and the percentages of how much you've been looking at your phone. Talk about a rude awakening. You spending 2 hours on Facebook for the week? That's 2 hours that you can be reading a book to help you be a better boss. That's 2 hours that you could be spending looking over your numbers and looking to see what expenses that you need to cut so that way you can either put more money back in your pocket or more money back into the business. Maybe you need to hire. So I truly believe that knowledge is power. So how are you to move forward if you don't know where you're spending time right now? So you got to take a few to just go through. Maybe it's just pull open a sheet of paper and track your time during the day. I've used tools like Toggle. We use Teamwork in our business, and I use that a lot of times. I have my own project to where I drop things that I have to get done on a daily basis, and I do try to track my time to see where am I spending the most time. So that, I think it's important to just evaluate that. See what time that you're wasting and that you could apply it to something that's more productive and getting you closer to your goals. Lastly, let's talk about if you're wanting to grow your business, here's an awesome acronym that I've learned about managing your sales and staying focused is if you write out LAPS, laps. Okay. And if you think of those as buckets, so the L is a bucket, A is a bucket, P is a bucket, S is a bucket. Okay. So we've already talked about, on the personal side and then showing up and then evaluating your time and addressing that. Knowledge is power, right? So when you put all that together and then you're like, okay, I want to grow my business. So how do you grow your business? Well, you're either going to have to cut costs and evaluate where you're spending your money, right? Or raise your prices or bring in more leads. Turn more of those leads into customers, right? You need to sell more stuff. And if you're like me, if you don't have a perfect system or sales system in place, or you're struggling with, maybe you have Active Campaign or something, but you just need just a quick and dirty way of saying, okay, these are the people that I'm dealing with right now. It's called LAPS. Leads, appointments, proposals, sold. Isn't that easy? And you want to have a full bucket across the board. So you want to have plenty of leads under the L. You want to have plenty of appointments because once there are leads, you want to either get them on the call. You want to be setting up a Zoom call, whatever your sales process is. Maybe you don't have one and this is where your starting point is. P, proposals. So when they come in as a leads, you've talked to them, you know what they want, you got what they need, and you need to sell it for them. You put it on a proposal, you send it off. So you want to have plenty of proposals out, right? And then sold. So you want to turn those proposals and you want to allow them to accept it, and you want to send them the invoice and get in the deposit, right? You want to sell the thing. So if an easy way to evaluate who's where in your process, your sales process, is to write out laps. I usually keep it on my board as just, even though we use Active Campaign and there's different moving parts, for me it's easier. So I know who I have to follow up and who hasn't moved across the board yet. It's that simple. And of course, I can't not talk about your website, right? Cannot not talk about it. Because hello, it's soon to be 2020. If you don't have a website, what are you doing? We definitely need to talk. Bottom line, is your website showing up when someone searches for your product or service? If it's not, that's a problem. It may be even worse if you're not sure on because my biggest thing is, we just put a blog post about this, is that if you don't know how people are finding your business, your products, that's a problem. Because how can you put out content if you don't know what's attracting them? Because then you're just standing there with, like a big horn just yelling out things and not attracting anybody. You're just broadcasting. So if you take a few before the end of this year, and shoot, we have free tools to audit and to look at and to see where your site is ranking for a specific keyword, key phrase. We'll do a site crawl to see, okay, what's working and what's not on your site, what needs to be fixed to allow you to rank higher. Check out our latest blog post. I'm going to link it up here in the show notes. But I just, talking with my team and talking to a few leads that were coming in, I was thinking, we got to be talking about this right now, because if people don't know and the whole buzz is about content, well, how do you know what content to put out if you don't know what people want? And you look at how are people finding you? If they're not finding you, that's a definite conversation to have right now. So once again, if you don't know how your website's showing up, or if you know it's showing up and you're not happy with it, now is the time to address this. So that way, when January 1st rolls around, throughout that first quarter, that you can be producing content that will attract and that will turn those leads into customers. Please do not waste any more time and evaluate where you're showing up. So that's it. I'm kicking off this series. I'm coming in at you. I want you to look at yourself, how you're showing up, and how you can be the best self, how you can be your best self every day. And what does it take to do that? You have to decide. I gave you what are mine that I know I need, but you have to come up with your own. If it's not uncomfortable, you're definitely doing it wrong. And how are you spending your time? Because knowledge is power. So use some of those free tools and just to see, where are you wasting time? What time can you put back? Because if you start talking to me like, Jen, I don't have time to do that, we're not even be able to talk. Because yes, you do. Everyone has 24 hours. It's how you're spending it. And if you're struggling with your sales process, lapse. Remember, leads, appointment, proposal, sold. They're individual buckets. You want to have plenty of names on that board, on each of those. And then lastly, if you don't know how your website's showing up, check out our latest blog post. There's some free tools in there. Let us help you. All right. So I hope you're excited as I am for the upcoming guests. And if you found that this is super helpful, one, I want to see what your daily habits are. If you just hashtag Rainy Day Talks, I'll see it. All right. And because I want to know and I want to help you be accountable. So if you've taken that, definitely tag me in it, post it, direct message me. You can find me online, but I want to hear from you. And as always, do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit like, and share it with your people. And lastly, definitely check out our latest blog post. All right, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. A huge thank you to Mark at Mark Levander Productions for sponsoring Season 1 of Rainy Day Talks podcast. I'm very particular who we partner with, and Mark was a no-brainer. Mark does all of our video editing and puts all of the components and pieces together for our YouTube channel and podcast. If you are looking to publish your own YouTube series, podcast, or need photography work, please contact Mark through marklevanderproductions.com.